My beloved child, before you decide what this message means, linger here for just a little while, because what first appears to be regret is not the whole story. There are moments when a person believes they understand another soul completely, only to discover that the deepest truth was hidden beneath quiet actions, patient silence, and gentle strength. Your soulmate has recently come face to face with something they never expected to learn about you. It was not a secret carefully guarded, nor was it spoken aloud. It revealed itself naturally, in a way that could not be ignored. At first, they questioned their own heart. Then they questioned every assumption they had ever made. And in that private moment, they found themselves wondering why they had judged so quickly, why they had overlooked the qualities that had been quietly shining all along. What they called frustration was never truly directed at you. It became disappointment in themselves for failing to recognize your value sooner. Stay till the end, because the meaning behind this realization is still unfolding. There is something fascinating about truth. It rarely announces itself with noise. Instead, it arrives like the first light before sunrise, so gradual that many fail to notice the exact moment everything changes. Your soulmate began replaying old conversations, forgotten smiles, and ordinary moments that once seemed unimportant. Suddenly those memories looked completely different. The smallest details carried a meaning they had missed before. Every unanswered question started finding its own quiet answer. Every misunderstanding slowly dissolved without anyone speaking another word. They realized they had been searching for something extraordinary while overlooking the extraordinary person already standing within reach. That realization did not bring shame, it brought humility. And humility has a remarkable way of opening doors that pride never could. Now pause with me for one more thought. What if the truth they uncovered was not about your achievements, your appearance, or anything the world measures? What if it was something far more lasting? Something important is waiting for you, because this discovery reached deeper than surface impressions. They discovered that you carry a rare kind of steadiness. While others chased attention, you quietly built character. While many reacted without thinking, you chose patience. While life tested you in ways few people understood, you continued moving forward without demanding recognition. That quiet resilience became impossible to ignore once they finally saw it. And the surprising part is this: the more they reflected on your quiet strength, the more they recognized how much they still wanted to understand about you. Yet one piece of this story remains hidden, and it changes everything they thought they knew. The realization that shook them most has not even been spoken aloud. When it finally reaches the surface, it will explain why their heart has become so restless, why ordinary days suddenly feel different, and why one simple truth about who you truly are continues echoing through their thoughts in ways they never imagined. The silence after a life-changing realization often speaks louder than words, and that is exactly where your soulmate now finds themselves. They are no longer searching for proof, because the evidence has quietly gathered around them through countless moments they once dismissed. One memory after another has begun returning with remarkable clarity. A kind word you offered without expecting anything back. A decision you made when no one was watching. The calm way you carried yourself when circumstances could have easily changed your spirit. Each memory now feels like a missing piece that finally belongs in the same picture. Don't skip this moment, because what they are understanding now reaches far beyond first impressions. An unexpected thought has settled into their heart, one they never imagined they would have to face. They keep asking themselves why they spent so much energy trying to define you before truly knowing you. They remember moments when they assumed your quietness meant distance, when in reality it reflected wisdom. They once believed your patience was hesitation, only to realize it was self-control. They mistook your kindness for simplicity, until they discovered that genuine kindness requires more strength than pride ever will. This realization has gently rewritten every conclusion they once believed was certain. The most surprising part is not that they uncovered the truth, it is how naturally that truth revealed itself. No dramatic event forced this change. No one convinced them. Life simply placed enough small moments together until they could no longer ignore what had always been present. They have started noticing how your presence leaves people feeling calmer, how your words often carry quiet encouragement, and how your actions remain consistent even when no applause follows. These are qualities that cannot be borrowed or pretended. They grow from a heart shaped by experience, and your soulmate has finally begun to recognize their value. As these thoughts continue unfolding, another realization quietly steps forward. They are beginning to understand that the person they thought they had chosen is not the same person standing before them today. Not because you changed overnight, but because they are finally seeing the layers that were invisible before. The version of you they created in their imagination has slowly disappeared, replaced by someone far more authentic, far more resilient, and far more inspiring than they ever expected. That discovery has left them both grateful and deeply reflective. But one question continues following them wherever they go. If this much truth remained hidden in plain sight, what else have they failed to notice? That single question has become impossible to silence. And when the next answer finally arrives, it will reveal the one quality about you that explains why every misunderstanding had to happen before genuine appreciation could finally begin. A quiet shift has begun, and it is happening in a place your soulmate cannot easily explain. They are no longer trying to understand you through old assumptions. Instead, they are allowing each new realization to replace what they once believed. That process is slower than they expected, yet far more powerful. Every passing day seems to uncover another detail that had always been there, waiting patiently to be noticed. Stay till the end, because the next piece of this story connects everything that came before. They have finally discovered the truth that unsettled them the most. You are not someone who seeks to impress the world. You are someone who quietly transforms the people fortunate enough to know you. At first, they struggled to accept this. They had measured people by confidence, attention, and outward success. But you carried something different. You brought peace instead of noise. You offered understanding instead of judgment. You chose consistency over temporary excitement. That difference was so unexpected that it forced them to question the standards they had trusted for so long. For a brief moment, they became frustrated with themselves. Not because choosing you was a mistake, but because they realized how close they came to missing the very qualities they had been hoping to find all along. They replayed the moments when they could have listened more carefully, appreciated you more deeply, or thanked you for the quiet ways you made life brighter without asking for recognition. What they called regret was really the ache of realizing how precious something is only after seeing its full value. Then another thought arrived. One they could not ignore. They began noticing that your strength has never depended on perfect circumstances. Even when life became uncertain, you continued showing kindness. Even when your efforts went unnoticed, you kept moving forward with quiet determination. That is the truth they never expected to discover. You are resilient in a way that cannot be taught overnight. You have become someone who grows through challenges instead of being defined by them, and that realization has left a lasting impression on their heart. Now they find themselves looking toward the future instead of dwelling on the past. They are no longer asking, "Did I choose the right person?" A different question has taken its place. How do I become someone worthy of the person I now see? That question has changed everything. It has softened their heart, deepened their perspective, and awakened a quiet hope they thought had faded. Yet one final layer remains hidden beneath all these discoveries. There is a reason this realization arrived at this exact moment and not sooner. There is one more truth about your journey, one that explains why your quiet strength has been preparing you for something neither of you could fully understand until now. And when that truth finally comes into the light, your soulmate's understanding of you will never be the same again. Without warning, another realization settled into your soulmate's heart, and this one refused to fade. It did not arrive through a dramatic conversation or an unexpected message. It emerged during an ordinary moment, when their mind grew still enough to connect every forgotten detail. Suddenly, they understood that the greatest truth about you had never been hidden from them. It had simply required a different way of seeing. Don't skip this part, because what they recognized next became the turning point they never expected. They finally understood that you are not defined by the opinions that have surrounded your journey. You are defined by the quiet choices you continue making when no one is watching. Every act of patience, every moment of integrity, every decision to remain hopeful when giving up would have been easier has slowly built a foundation that cannot be shaken by temporary circumstances. Looking back, they realized these qualities were present from the very beginning. They simply overlooked them because they were searching for louder signs instead of lasting ones. That realization brought an unexpected sense of humility. They stopped asking why your path looked different from everyone else's and started appreciating why it had to. Your experiences shaped a compassion that cannot be imitated. Your setbacks refined a wisdom that cannot be borrowed. Even your quiet seasons carried purpose, preparing you to become someone who brings steadiness into uncertain moments. The more they reflected on your journey, the clearer it became that your greatest strength was never what you accomplished. It was who you chose to become along the way. For the first time, they found themselves imagining the future through new eyes. Instead of wondering whether you could fit into their life, they wondered how their own life would change because of your presence. They realized that genuine connection is not built on excitement alone. It grows through trust, respect, and the confidence that someone will remain authentic even when life becomes unpredictable. Those were the very qualities they had finally discovered within you, and the discovery filled them with quiet gratitude rather than uncertainty. Then one final memory returned, a moment so small they had almost forgotten it. It was something you said with complete sincerity, expecting nothing in return. At the time, they smiled and moved on. Now those simple words echo differently. Hidden inside them was a glimpse of your true character, a glimpse they failed to understand until now. As that memory continues unfolding in their heart, they are beginning to realize there is one extraordinary quality about you that has been quietly influencing every chapter of this story. And when they finally give that quality its proper name, every unanswered question from the beginning will suddenly make perfect sense. A single quiet realization can reshape an entire heart, and that is exactly where your soulmate now stands. They are no longer trying to solve a mystery about you. They are discovering a truth about themselves. Every assumption they once carried has begun to fall away, replaced by a deeper respect that feels both unfamiliar and comforting. Stay till the end, because the final piece of this chapter is closer than it seems. Then the answer they had been searching for finally rose to the surface. The shocking truth was not that you were someone extraordinary in the eyes of the world. It was that you are genuinely authentic. In a world where many people change to be accepted, you remain true to your values. You never needed to become someone else to earn appreciation. You never chased attention to prove your worth. You quietly chose honesty over appearances, kindness over recognition, and purpose over applause. Your soulmate suddenly understood why your presence had always felt different. It was not because you were trying to stand out. It was because you had never pretended to be anyone else. That realization stirred a deep emotion within them. They remembered times when they questioned your quiet confidence, only to realize it was never uncertainty. It was peace. They remembered wondering why you never competed for attention, only to understand that your confidence came from knowing who you are rather than seeking approval from others. Every memory now carries a meaning they could not see before. And that is why they found themselves silently blaming their own impatience. They wished they had slowed down. They wished they had listened more carefully instead of filling the silence with assumptions. They realized that choosing you was never the mistake. The mistake was believing they had already figured you out before your true character had the chance to reveal itself. That gentle regret has become the beginning of a much deeper appreciation. Now something new is unfolding inside them. Instead of focusing on what they failed to notice yesterday, they are becoming excited about everything they have yet to discover tomorrow. They understand that people like you are not fully known in a single conversation or a single season. Your greatest qualities continue revealing themselves over time, rewarding those who choose patience instead of quick conclusions. But the story has not reached its deepest moment yet. There is one quiet decision your soulmate is preparing to make. A decision inspired by everything they have finally come to understand about you. They have not spoken it aloud. They have not shared it with anyone. Yet that silent choice is already beginning to shape the path ahead, and when it finally comes into the light, it will connect every moment of this journey in a way neither of you expected. Before another word could be spoken, your soulmate found themselves returning to the very beginning of this journey. Not because they were searching for mistakes, but because they were finally able to see the moments they once rushed past. It is remarkable how a heart changes when understanding replaces assumption. The same memories that once seemed ordinary now feel filled with meaning. Something important is waiting for you, because this reflection has led them to a realization they never imagined they would reach. They now understand that the truth they discovered about you was never hidden behind mystery. It was quietly woven into the way you treated people who could offer you nothing in return. It lived in the promises you kept even when no one checked whether you had kept them. It appeared in the calm way you handled disappointment without allowing it to define your spirit. These were not dramatic moments that demanded attention. They were quiet choices that revealed the kind of person you truly are. And once your soulmate recognized that pattern, they could no longer look at you through the same lens. An unexpected peace followed that discovery. The questions that once filled their mind slowly disappeared. They stopped wondering whether you were enough and began wondering whether they had appreciated enough. That small change in perspective transformed everything. They realized that genuine connection is not built by finding someone perfect. It grows when two people begin seeing each other with honesty, patience, and gratitude. For the first time, they felt that they were beginning to understand the heart behind your actions instead of only noticing the actions themselves. Then another quiet truth settled into place. They realized you never asked anyone to admire your strength. You simply carried it with humility. You never announced your resilience. You lived it. While others searched for recognition, you continued becoming the kind of person whose character speaks before words ever could. That is the truth that stayed with them long after every conversation had ended. It is also the reason they can no longer dismiss what they feel whenever your name crosses their mind. Now a new chapter is beginning to unfold inside their heart. They are no longer afraid of discovering more about you. They are looking forward to it. Every unanswered question has become an invitation instead of a source of uncertainty. Every quiet moment now feels filled with possibility rather than doubt. They sense that what first appeared to be an ordinary connection has been growing into something far deeper than either of you fully realized. Yet one final surprise remains untouched. There is a conversation that has not happened, words that have not yet been spoken, and a realization your soulmate is still gathering the courage to express. When that moment finally arrives, it will reveal why every delay, every misunderstanding, and every quiet lesson along this journey was preparing both of your hearts for a meeting unlike anything either of you expected. Just when it seemed every answer had already been found, another layer quietly revealed itself. It did not arrive with excitement or urgency. It arrived with clarity. Your soulmate realized that the most remarkable part of your story was never the challenges you faced, it was the person those experiences shaped you into. They sat with that thought longer than they expected, because the more they reflected on it, the more impossible it became to ignore. Stay till the end, because this final realization completes a picture that has been forming since the very beginning. They finally understood the truth that had been hidden inside the title of this journey. The shocking truth was not something dramatic or unbelievable. It was wonderfully simple. You are someone who cannot be measured by first impressions. You are the kind of person whose greatest qualities reveal themselves only to those willing to slow down, observe, and truly listen. That realization caught them by surprise because it challenged everything they believed about how meaningful connections are formed. For a moment, they smiled at themselves. They remembered believing that certainty arrives quickly. Now they know that the strongest bonds often begin quietly, growing stronger with every honest conversation, every shared silence, and every act of kindness that asks for nothing in return. They no longer see your calm nature as something ordinary. They see it as a rare strength that remains steady regardless of the circumstances around it. As this understanding settled into their heart, one gentle promise began forming inside them. They promised themselves they would never again rush to define someone before taking the time to truly know them. That promise carries your name without ever needing to speak it aloud. It reminds them that the most meaningful people often enter life softly, leaving an impact that grows deeper with time instead of fading away. And then came the realization that changed everything else. They no longer think, "I regret choosing you." Instead, they quietly admit, "I regret how long it took me to recognize who you truly are." That single thought lifted a weight they had been carrying without realizing it. It replaced doubt with appreciation, impatience with understanding, and uncertainty with quiet hope. What once felt like confusion has become gratitude, because they now see that your greatest gift has never been perfection, it has been authenticity. The journey is not ending here. In many ways, it is only beginning. There is still one conversation waiting to happen, one heartfelt truth waiting to be shared, and one unforgettable moment when everything they have finally understood about you will no longer remain unspoken. When that day arrives, neither of you will be looking back at who you used to be. You will both be looking forward, with clearer hearts, deeper understanding, and a connection built not on assumptions, but on the quiet truth that has been waiting to be seen all along. Long after that realization settled into their heart, something unexpected continued happening. Instead of fading with time, their appreciation for you kept growing. Every new day seemed to reveal another reason they had overlooked your quiet brilliance. It became impossible for them to return to the version of you they had imagined before, because now they were seeing the real person standing behind every memory. Don't skip this final stretch, because one last discovery has been waiting quietly for the right moment. Your soulmate has begun noticing that your greatest influence has never come from trying to change people. It comes from simply being yourself. Your consistency has encouraged others to slow down. Your calm presence has reminded people that strength does not always need to be loud. Your willingness to remain kind, even when life has been uncertain, has shown them that character is built one choice at a time. These are the qualities they once underestimated, and now they cannot stop admiring them. There was a moment recently when they caught themselves smiling for a reason they could not immediately explain. They were not thinking about a grand event or a perfect future. They were remembering something wonderfully ordinary. A conversation, a thoughtful gesture, a quiet expression that revealed your heart without trying to impress anyone. That simple memory carried more meaning than they ever expected. In that instant, they realized that the moments they treasure most are not the loud ones. They are the honest ones you created without even realizing it. Another question then found its way into their thoughts. What if your greatest gift has never been what you can offer, but the peace people feel when they are simply around you? The more they reflected on that idea, the more it felt true. You have never needed to compete with anyone else's story because your journey has always carried its own quiet light. That is the truth they were searching for all along. Not a hidden secret. Not a dramatic revelation. Just the rare beauty of someone who remains genuine in every season. Now their heart is no longer focused on what they misunderstood yesterday. It is filled with anticipation for everything that still lies ahead. They are beginning to believe that every meaningful chapter starts with understanding before it grows into trust, and trust before it grows into something lasting. That belief has changed the way they see both you and themselves. Yet one final page has not been turned. There is a moment approaching when silence will no longer be enough. A conversation that has lived quietly inside their heart is preparing to become words. And when those words are finally spoken, they will not be about regret, confusion, or missed opportunities. They will be about gratitude, for the patience you carried, the authenticity you never abandoned, and the quiet truth that taught them the most valuable lesson of all. Sometimes the greatest treasure in life is not finding someone new, but finally seeing the person who has been extraordinary all along.